Greetings and welcome to Talk to Me America, brought to you by Here's What I Heard, the channel you're watching right now. I'm Laura Goddess, your hostess. Thank you for clicking on my little acre of the internet today. Well, it sounds like we finally, or someone's finally gone and done it. There's many reasons I would venture to say that people will say this is happening. A lot of us agree with the fact that a lot of it is weak leadership in certain places that frankly is not doing anybody any good. Everybody wants to talk about what's going on, of course, in the Ukraine. I actually was going to have other things on the show today, but this seems like an extremely important matter, and there's a lot of things to it. It's not real simple, believe it or not. And some of the devil is in the details, and the details are actually some of the things that are going to be, or seem that are like they're going to be, the most detrimental. The stuff that they hide from you, you know. And of course, everybody in the world keeps saying, this never would have happened under Trump. I guess you might be right about it. However, one thing you can say is that this is what everyone accused Trump of going to do, which we have people now talking about the fact that this is going to spark World War III. And one of the details that I found out that might actually be making this a true statement or a true prediction or something that actually might come to fruition is some of the news articles that I've been seeing. I'm following this one here on, it looks like foxnews.com. And of course, just doing headlines. I'm literally trying to find out all angles of this because I have no clue about a lot of foreign affairs or anything like that. And you know me, I've been a normie pretty much all my life up until a couple of years ago, when basically all I could do was watch TV and watch streams and watch what was going on and see what was going on. Since then, I've been watching the censorship and the lockdowns and the tyranny that's going on in some of these other countries that are part of our Western world. And it's disconcerting to a point. So, you know, and of course, I'd like everyone to call me tonight, and probably I've figured everyone would give us a call tonight and talk about this, since it is a hot toddy topic. Of course, you can call in and talk about anything you want. Let me see. I gotta turn it. I actually have to turn it on after I turn the camera on for you guys. Otherwise, you won't see me on the camera. All right, I got that set up. So yes, please call me at any time. The world wants to know what you have to say, so call me and tell them like it is. Didn't deal with any trolls today. Well, one troll, but I don't know if he was so much of a troll as much as, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't really get a whole lot of time with him or seeing what was going on with him. I just heard towards the end he seemed like a doomer, which basically means that he has lost all hope in anything coming about or going around. We're just fucked. No matter who's in office, no matter who says this, no matter who does that, we're just we're just done. We're done for, whatever. Oh, woe is me and all of that. So so they eventually got rid of him, which is fine with me. It's not my channel. If you see anybody dooming and glooming, or main thing I'm worried about, especially on YouTube, is other people abusing other people. I'll never do that. I'll try very hard not to call names. I am a human being. I'm not perfect. Hey man, you want perfect? Get a fucking Barbie, okay? So of course you got people like Tim Pool screaming now, and as usual, Mr. Fence Sitter, he's reluctantly screaming World War III. But you know, he does a disclaimer. I think it's so that he keeps both sides of his audience. That's fine. He does his way, I do my way. Guys, let me know if you're out there. Let's see, who do I got? Who do I got so far? Wage, ever faithful Wage War. Good man. Check him out. He does a stream, and in fact, he's getting ready to. What was it you said? You were going to open up your own server for like this, because now Odysee is being asshole too. Bastard son of Johnny Cash. Welcome. You're a new face in the chat. Welcome. Call me anything but late for dinner. I'm with you on that, man. So anyway, I've been following this thing. I'll show you real quick. Let's go over here. This is a something Fox News update, live updates or something like that. One of the things, you know, everybody's talking about World War. So I did some checking, and I've been following up on this, and I've been actually watching this. This is like a ticker tape of shit that's going on in the Ukraine right now. Where'd it go? Okay, U.S. 5 hours ago, this is according to the U.S. to deploy 7,000 troops to Germany in the coming days. Oh, now, why did it do that? That's the only problem. This is almost worse than Twitter used to be. Maybe I should click on it. Where did it go? What is it doing? Anyway, like I say, to Germany. Why to Germany? Can somebody... Ah, there it is. Secretary of Defense General Lloyd Austin has ordered the deployment of approximately 7,000 additional service members to Germany in a move that will bolster NATO defense forces in Europe. So, according to what I'm hearing, actually, Putin has invaded... Where do I start? This is, like I say, this has been an all-day thing, and there's just so much things happening all at once. Putin has ordered, evidently, last night, as of last night or night before last, invasion of the Ukraine. We've seen some videos. There's been a few videos of planes shooting missiles and stuff like that. I've also seen a few debunked photos already. They're using, looks like they're using targeting photos, old targeting photos, to make it look like as if this is what they're doing over there. Like I say, I've seen some debunked photos. I've heard a bunch of lies. I've heard a bunch of reasons. I've heard a lot of things. And of course, Salty came on, and so did Paul Joseph Watson, saying something. Now, I don't speak Russian, and of course, they've got translators for this stuff, but according to some of the news that I've been seeing, Putin is actually claiming that he is fighting Nazis, actual Nazis. And they are supposedly actual Nazis, or the way that the way that it sounds. Wage. Let's see, who else do we have? True Sanity 1, how are you? Thank you for coming. Welcome to the show. Okay, a platform, yes. Wage is setting up a platform similar to this. Welcome to the jungle of server servicing. It's never ending. It's like having a small puppy for the rest of your life that you plug in. Don't forget the generators. Anyways, this headline is one of the things that tells me World War, because what now does Germany have to do with the Ukraine and Russia, other than the fact that they get their petroleum from them, their oil or whatever it is? I just heard so much stuff, and you don't know what exactly to believe, because at the same time, if you're paying attention, there are other things going on in the United States that nobody seems to be paying attention to, as far as the like, you got the CNC, what is it, the what conference is it, the see, they got my attention so far overseas, I don't even remember what it is. It's this convention, the conservative convention that they've got going on. James O'Keefe spoke at it. They're even going to have Nikki, what was her, Nick, they're even going to have a Democrat speak it there, which to me shows two different things. One, it shows me willingness, our side's willingness to reach across the aisles, if you will, and say, hey man, you know, as long as you don't stab us in the back, sometimes even if you do, we're always willing to work with you. But at the same time, it's so split up that can you actually trust her? Because you may agree with some of the things that she said, but she's still on the other side. CPEC. Bruin Backhand, how are you, my friend? On YouTube, welcome. My stream must be working. Yes, CPEC. Now, again, this is something I'm not real familiar with. It just sounds like a pep rally for the conservatives, you know, and they bring in speakers and all of that. And I'm sure that it has something to do with raising money for the party or raising money for the party candidates or something like I say, I'm not all knowing about this stuff, but that's one of the things that's actually going on right now. You got this thing going on now with CNN, this huge upset that's got new owners now. And it seems like, I was going to say, from some of the reports that I've seen, it seems like Stelter is sweating to death. He's sweating whether or not he's going to get to keep his job. Although I don't see why he won't keep his job, other than the fact that he was the brown noser in all this situation, and he was up both Zucker's ass and Cuomo's ass. You know, he you know how those kinds are. They kind of sort of play both sides against the middle, but only someone on the outside notices what a rat he is between the two of them. And that's kind of what Stelter kind of reminds me of, and he's talking about it on air now. But the articles are coming out. But I mean, there's a lot of things that are coming out now that still, and of course the atrocious losses of the Democrat side of, they're flipping seats all over the place. I don't know exactly. Like I say, this stuff, you watch it long enough and it becomes a wash of information. But at the same time, you also can see what the government wants you to look at these days and what they don't want you to look at, just by virtue of what you see being censored and what you don't see that you know is going on somehow or another. And of course, just human nature as far as a lot of this stuff goes too. Yes, I'm doing very good, Bruin Backhand. Glad to see you. I'm very good. If I make it here, I'm doing well. Sometimes not though. It just depends on what's happening here. Let's see. Oh, nice goodies here. Let's see. All right, nobody's writing anything. I had a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to say. I probably should have written some more of this stuff down. However, one of the things I wanted to touch on, and this was something that we witnessed at on 451 Actual's channel this morning, on his metal station this morning. He promised me he was going to be here. I'm sure something came up. Because he was going to call me and do a rant about this too, because the one thing that always comes back to mind on this, and it's almost like that rapper in, you know, Samson said, you know, he's talking about the higher gas prices and you know, really ask yourself, are you doing better this year than you were last year and all of that? And of course it comes back with an argument. Well, it's not Biden's fault. Okay, well, whose is it then? This is the man in charge, if you will. And yet, when he had this, there's my metal man, 451 Actual. Make sure to go check out his station. He now does 5 days a week from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. his Big Dick Energy radio station. He plays metal. He'll play just about anything you ask him to. I'm just waiting for someone to ask for the Pina Colada song. Now you watch, we're going to get on there tomorrow with him and he'll see me on there and he'll say, oh, this is for the goddess. That's not an actual request. That's just, my mind thinks that way. And there are a lot of people out there that would actually ask for that song. Either to troll or because they genuinely like it. Believe me, I have it. I have that particular one asked me of where I play all the time. I'm sorry, don't know the Pina Colada song. And actually, that wouldn't be one for me to sing anyway. Anyways, though, back to the topic. My biggest problem was actually today our grandpa-in-chief, as Jericho Green says, hey, this isn't the mall. Where's my chocolate chip ice cream? Or any of that. I'm terrible at impressions. I have enough problems impressing myself. Impressioning myself? But yeah, actually the best part of today's press conference today, if you will, was when the press got a hold of him. And why they didn't think that the press wasn't going to ask hard questions about this. I mean, this is a very complicated situation. Oh, that's cool. I can't wait to hear what that is. 4-5 Actual says he's got a go-to option when people try to troll the playlist. I can't wait to hear that. Like I said before, he's actually done some... he came down here when Trump was in town. In fact, Trump was in town 2 towns away from me. Thankfully, I had to go the other way. I had to work that day, but had I not had to work, I probably would have been there. If nothing else, just to get on the outside of the crowd and give you a visual of what it looked like, if I could even get in there at that point. I'm not a big one for crowds unless I'm up on stage, if you know what I mean. But one of the questions that was asked of him was whether or not, and of course this was after Putin had made a speech. It was like almost an hour speech. Part of it's talking about the fact that he is doing this. He's supposedly not looking for occupation, which if you send troops over there, I don't know what else you'd call it. But he's not necessarily looking for occupation, but he's out there fighting actual Nazis. Actual Nazis, actual people that have been oppressing the people of that part of the Ukraine on the Russian border. Like I say, I'm terrible at explaining this kind of stuff, and the foreign shit is not my bag of tea. However, it is going to end up sounding like, especially since the administration is actually blaming now blaming the food shortages and the gas increases and all this other stuff on this particular conflict, which has actually been building up now for a couple of months now. We were hearing the reports that Russia was building up, and then they had up to 180,000 troops on the border there and all of that. But after the speech, and Putin had also said something to the effect that if we interfere or if something happens, he's going to push his big red button towards the United States. And then the craziest thing he asked, I think the Fox News reporter asked him, did he think that Putin meant that he was going to nuke us? And if you watched it today, you know what the answer was. But if you didn't watch it today, Grandpa in Chief here literally said, I don't know. So this popped to my mind almost immediately after I heard that. It's like, okay, so they can track down an individual's bank account like the single mother and turn their bank account off for donating to a peaceful cause. But these motherfuckers don't know whether or not Putin has a plan to push down a big red button. They seem to know everything else in the world. What's going on with our intelligence agencies here? It seems like they're actually more interested in arresting people that would misgender someone or write stupid shit on Twitter or whatever like that, but they're not going to even take a peek at our enemies, people that we've been bashing as our enemies now for at least the last 6 years or more since Trump came into the picture. And the other thing that bothered me was the fact that they keep saying, "Oh, well, we're gonna impose sanctions on Russia." Gonna? So this is just a threat. We're gonna do this if they keep going any farther. We're gonna impose sanctions. And of course, this is another thing that tells me that Biden is very, I don't know, I guess you could say jealous of Trump as far as that goes, because he pretty much used the same rhetoric by saying, and again, this was this was funny, but it was also sad at the same time, but he pretty much used the same rhetoric. We're threatening to impose some of the greatest sanctions that we've ever imposed on anybody in the history of our country. Who does that sound like to you? I recognize that voice. The thing is Trump actually did the things he told you he was going to do that were going to be great. In fact, the reason I believe that we're in this situation right now that we're in is because this guy was hell-bent on reversing everything and anything that Trump said or did. Whether it was working or not, whether it was good or not, whether, it was his edicts, so it had to go. And within a year, and not even a year and a half, here we are. In the same place that they kept telling us that Trump was going to put us in. Explain that to me. Actually, you don't need to explain it to me. I already know. We keep electing stupider and stupider and stupider and stupider people into office. We've gotten so complacent, and they know that we're complacent. That's the reason why they're not even sneaking this shit by us anymore. They're blatantly telling us this is what's going to happen, and this is what they're going to do. And nobody's listening. All right. Sounds like we got a phone call coming on here. Let me turn the speakers on for you.
Can you hear me?
You are on the air.
Hey, it's 451.
Welcome to the show, 451 Actual, my metal man.
How's it going? How you doing?
Fantastic. Everybody let us know if you can hear it okay. So far, everything's working okay.
Yeah.
So,
cool.
Tell the world what you think about this.
Well, catch me up on your latest point, because I know I'm 10 or 20 seconds behind you. So I was listening up until the point. Let's see, what did you just said about Biden trying to reverse everything that Trump has done?
Oh, yeah, that was pretty much what I was saying. Whether it was good or bad, whether it worked or not, he was just hell bent. And my finishing is it sounds like he's jealous at the same time, because whenever he takes credit for something, he uses some of the same phraseology as Trump did. Oh, this was the best ever, and we did the best job of this ever. So yeah, these are the kind of things that tells me that he was just jealous. They were jealous of him.
Right. Yeah. No. And the thing is that Trump was able to wield the big stick that he had through his character and his ego. I mean, let's be honest. A good leader has to have a good sense of self-respect. And so you can go back and look at the times when Trump met with Putin, right?
Sure.
You look at the handshakes that they would exchange. There was one in particular where Trump like yanked Putin in. Trump's a bigger guy than Putin. You know what I mean? He's he's like kind of towering over him a little bit, and he like yanks Putin in like, no, you come on in close to me, shake my hand like a man. Quit being. Stream down? Were we getting too real?
There. Okay.
I think you're live now.
I'm live, but I was on mute. Ah, this thing saved from before I even got on. Before I even started streaming. How weird. Okay. I think everything's back to normal now. Thank you so much for your patience. Yeah. But this is why I need new equipment. My equipment, right. I think my biggest problem is that my equipment is not handling everything.
Oh, okay.
So
do you need me to call you on the phone?
No, this is fine. This is fine. I can't. Okay. I couldn't
okay.
get you. I couldn't get you on the phone anyway. It would be a speakerphone. It would sound. You would sound like this.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I gotcha. All right. So when did it actually disconnect? I saw on the stream that we were talking about him, yanking Putin in and walking over the line in North Korea. So basically what I was getting at is, you look at the energy that you see in Joe Biden, right? Which is, practically nothing. The guy comes out, he fumbles through the teleprompter script like it's the first time that he's read it. He has no. You see, one thing that I learned about certain speakers, one thing I learned to identify while I was in the military, watching many, many different types of leaders train many, many different types of scenarios, is you could always tell who had paid attention to the details and actually had a hand in writing what they were going to say. You understand what I'm saying? Like they were able to go to their key points when someone backbriefed them or asked them a question, and they would be able to break it down what we would call Barney style, break it down like Barney would to a kindergartner, with that kind of detail where there's no room for interpretation. And you have the leader of the free world, the president of the United States, just like you had just mentioned, asked, do you think that when Vladimir Putin says you're going to experience consequences that your country has never experienced in its history, do you think that means nuclear missiles? And he says, I don't know. How anybody, whether the dude has an earpiece in, they need to put a shock collar on the guy or something. But when you're the leader of the free world and you're basically looking down the barrel of a gun at this point because Putin has got you by the balls, he is he's scared. He looks like a deer in the headlights. And not only does our enemy see that, but our allies see that also. And that's why you see less commitment out of the already ne'er to do well fucking NATO alliance that we've been pouring fucking money into for decades and has yielded nothing.
And the world, the world is watching. The world is watching, and that's
exactly
one of the reasons why. In fact, I'm not sure if this was Trump that said this, because, like I say, I've seen so much stuff. It's all just kind of running in my head now. And, of course, I still have my own opinion about it. But I'm also very uneducated about anything foreign. Except for I've been to a few of these countries. But it was as a tourist. You don't learn their governorship
Right.
and all that stuff when you go visit, you know. So, but
Right.
I have been to China. That was actually one I had to take a class to actually go over there and survive. Maybe one day I'll tell the entire story about that or do a video about that. I was a
Yeah. Wow.
I was a summer student or I was a college student exchange student for
Ah.
for Nanjing University, and we actually toured the northeast quadrant of China all the way up
Wow.
to Beijing. In fact, I even got to see Mao Zedong, or whoever it is they have
Really?
in the glass coffin. They split the line for us, and we got to go see him.
Wow.
That was creepy as hell, especially at 18 years old.
Yeah. And speaking of China, that was another troubling thing.
Right.
They asked him, "Hey, well, why are you going to call on China, to basically denounce Vladimir Putin, like what's going on with the relationship there?" And he says no comment. Okay? Now, the Biden administration, his team, okay, Biden may be oblivious to it. They may just fucking roll him back behind those doors, give him a thing of chocolate pudding, change his Depends, and sit him down in front of a TV or something while they try to, run the president with some kind of shadow presidency. But the team around him has to realize that the media is going to ask him about China. Even if half the country are a bunch of crazy conspiracy theorists always saying that China Joe, 10% for the big guy. You know what I mean? Like, the corruption exists. And here he has this situation where he could look dead into the camera, dead into the American people's faces, their eyes, and explain to them that he is going to require China to join the rest of the world. This huge
Yep. It keeps saving from before I even went online. It's really weird. But obviously, somebody doesn't want us to talk about this stuff, which is all the more reason why we should keep talking about this stuff. As long as we don't get thrown off, even if we do get thrown off of YouTube. Are you there? Sorry about that, man.
I'm here. I'm sorry. I feel like the Chinese are probably hacking into your shit because it seems like every time I get ready to go into China, your shit gets shut up.
Yeah, that totally wouldn't surprise me. But according to my diagnostics, I don't have a big enough video card for this, evidently. And I'm trying.
Oh.
Let's see. Let me turn this off. I like to see who's on here, but let me turn that off. It seems like the more video stuff I've got going on, and I don't even have you on video. You're just on audio, so I don't know.
Right.
But
right.
This computer actually has started doing this to me almost like 25 or 30 days after I set it up and bought it. So I actually thought, and actually do still think, it's because of the fact that I touch on controversial subjects and topics.
Yeah, it could be.
And you guys know that I'm totally against I don't give a shit if you want to be trans or whatever like that, but don't start taking over our sports and our spaces and all of that, claiming that you're one of us, totally knocking us completely out of our own realm. You know what I'm saying? We fought for our rights.
Oh, yeah.
We fought for our rights for way too long and way too hard. And I'm not saying we're going to take over the world. I don't want to take over the world. I don't want to be like on what was it? Futurama, Death by Snoo Snoo, where the
Right.
Amazon
Yeah.
women were all led by a computer, a mod the computer.
Right.
So yeah, I don't want to be like
There's
that.
nothing wrong with identifying the difference in genders. You know what I mean? Like, there is a significant difference between the genders. It's just a natural fact. And there's no point in ruining a sport for a group of people who, like you said, have been working for decades, for acknowledgement and to set records and to be taken seriously and get sponsorships and earn equal pay in sports and stuff like that, which still isn't done. And now we're just going to say, well, now we got this new group of people that wants to feel equal, so back to the fucking line again you go. Um, it just doesn't work that way in
Well,
reality.
one of the
Um,
things that makes me even more nervous about that kind of thing, though, too, is that you got people teaching in the colleges now that we need to
yeah,
abolish women's suffrage. They make it sound like as if
jeez.
women are suffering and they need to abolish that, but they don't know what the meaning of suffrage is.
Right,
They don't
right,
have any idea. And the thing is we need to learn these people that if they abolish women's suffrage, you're abolishing women's rights and the 19th Amendment, I believe.
right. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy. It's
Um,
crazy, and it really does make me nervous.
yeah. I mean, it's like again, I was watching Red Dawn Radio on Monday, and he said he makes an excellent point when he says, history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure as hell rhymes.
Yeah,
So a lot of the segregation and discrimination and loss of civil rights, there's always a group of people, usually the most extreme among us, which, I mean, let's face it, transgender people, most of them, we'll say probably 95% of them are attention seekers, that didn't like how their lives were going as whatever gender they started out and just think that they can go into some character creation menu and start over. And their ultimate virtue signal, to earn admiration from people around them, which I think is a mental illness.
yeah. Well, they've
But
made
again,
it.
that's something
Go ahead.
that's something that I think has been programmed into people by social media. People will do crazier and crazier things online. We've all seen it, for the attention, for the likes, for the comments, and that's unfortunately spilled into real life as those two parts of our lives have become more and more synonymous with each other. Technology is everywhere,
Right.
and
Well,
so
they
that
started out by
that
infiltrating it in a lot of the pop culture and a lot of. In fact, this
yes,
is one of the reasons I don't watch television anymore, because it doesn't represent anything about me anymore. In fact, I've seen nothing but. For the past at least 10 years that I know of, bashing anybody that is not of color or of some kind of
yes,
odd, out of the ordinary sexuality or family member or whatever like that. And it's like, yeah, those people exist, but they're
yes,
still a minority.
yes,
And I'm not saying that
yes.
they're
Well,
any
and then
less
that's
or anything like that, but at least make it a little bit realistic. I can't believe that there's so many people out there that are willing to like vote against themselves or not stand up and take their own equality. It's like, yeah, you guys are important, but everybody's important.
yes, but again, that is the quintessential slumbering normie. Is they've had a screen put in front of them, or whatever device it is that they have, that occupies them, and they're taught that whatever interactions happen on that screen are the most important. So they'll walk around in the real world all jacked up, you know what I mean? And just
Yep.
absolutely busted. And there's no faking it. I mean, you're a dude. You know what I mean? Like you are a man. You have long hair, and you've had some modifications done, but you are definitely a dude. Get away with me with them giant ass hands.
Eh,
And they act like everybody owes it to them because their virtue signaling has worked online. Um, and that again is just an unfortunate part of society. And like I was getting to with my point here, and then I'll go ahead and clear the line for you, is we're living in a scary time. A ship of a country that's adrift at the ocean, and Joe Biden is standing there behind the wheel, letting that thing swing left and right with no plan. Now, the people that are controlling him may certainly have a plan, and it may be, working for whatever it is their end goal is. But I'll just stress to the people listening out there that, Jack Posobiec said this morning, and it really stuck with me. We are 9 meals from a democracy to an anarchy, and what that means is that the average household has 9 meals stored right now, nine meals worth of food in their house. And if you're not able to replenish that, be it because of the crisis around the world, the U.S. trucker convoy that's getting ready to be stacked on top of that, if you're not able to get those supplies, people get desperate very quickly. So start taking necessary steps now. Even if you have limited space, start looking at vertical gardening, start looking at PVC gardening, whatever it is you can do to sustain yourself. Start a few seeds of vegetables that you like, whatever it is. Do something. Start preparing water filtration, all that good stuff. Because I think this is going to get worse before it gets better. I hope I'm wrong, but everybody needs to start realizing that this isn't a game anymore. And
they're not going to give a shit who you are, what you look like.
Right.
If you're in their way, you will be trampled.
That's right. And that's one thing I tell people all the time. You can tell the nice man with the AK-47 just how woke you were before he butt strokes you and tells you to shut up and dig your own grave.
Well, I was going to say, Putin himself has been laughing at that bullshit.
Yes, he is.
That ought to tell you right there. He doesn't give a fuck what your pronouns are. That's
exactly right. Yep. So anyway, I just wanted to call in and shoot the shit with you for a little while. It was definitely I mean, you heard me when the whole thing was over. I was pretty heated. I was pretty pissed off at the way he handled that. He had an opportunity to prove everybody wrong. Not that I thought that he was going to, but all of the things that we've been saying for years. Oh yeah, all of the things that we've been saying for years is, I mean, it's not conspiracy, guys. The dude is in bed with China. He doesn't actually give a fuck about Ukraine. He's worried about the information that will come out of Ukraine, as far as the money laundering and the big 10% for the big guy and all of that shit that comes out of Ukraine. So we gotta right the ship ourselves, friends. So start doing what you can to fight the fight, and take no prisoners. So
well, the best thing is like what Salty said: take care of you, take care of your family.
Yep.
Live by example, and if you and be ready for anything.
Yes. Yep. All right, Laura. Well, I'll call in probably again next time, but it was good talking to you. Thank you for letting me do this.
Yes, thanks for calling. I appreciate it. That's actually what the show is all about, all for and everything. I appreciate you giving me a call. Everybody, make sure you check out 451 Actual, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday now. He plays some awesome metal music. He'll play just about anything you want him to play. I even heard you play a country tune once in a while. I appreciate the fact that you play my son's music. I think that they're awesome. And they're actually coming up with some new music soon here. They're getting ready to do some recording, so I'm excited about that. Good. And we'll make sure to send that right over to you when they're finished. Unfortunately, They both work during the day, and they work at places where your station is NSFW. So, do you ever post any of that stuff?
Yeah. So I actually just started recording the episodes in their entirety. Sometimes I forget to start recording until Pastor Shadowley shows up, because he's the one that always heckles me to do it. But he's right. I need to archive everything. Because sometimes I do get on some good rants and I do bring up some good points, and they're lost to the ether, because I have this 6-hour episode that I just don't record. But I've been recording them now, and so the bit rate might look a little funky, like the video will be a little fuzzy. So if you want the best quality uh, try to tune in live. But yes, I am starting to post them right here on Odyssey as replays, which is something that I'm getting ready to go do right now. Is set up today's episode and post it. So
Oh, okay,
be on the
great.
lookout for it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And we'll see you probably in the morning.
Alrighty, take care,
I gotta
Laura.
work
Good
this
talking to
weekend,
you.
but I'll probably see you in the morning. So thank you very much for calling, everyone.
Of course.
451 actual, everybody. Make sure that you check him out. He's got a great show too. Good night. All right. The number to call 409-877. Yeah, 877-1243. I'm sorry, I don't call myself very often, so I don't have that number in my head yet. And it's a new number. Two things I came up. Let's see, what did I see here? Here's one. And he had mentioned something about, we shouldn't worry about Ukraine, but it's one thing about why we shouldn't worry about it, but it's another thing as to why they do worry about it and why it's important. First of all, I want to let you know that Ukraine's parliament votes to allow citizens to carry guns. In fact, I saw another video or another headline not too long ago where they basically are calling on people and saying, hey, we'll give you a gun if you'll come and protect the nation for us. So yeah, Ukraine evidently sounds like their army wasn't ready for this, or they didn't have a very big army, or I don't know, they didn't expect this or whatever. Of course, they've been gathering for months, so why he would just announce that today, I don't know. You never know. Let's see. But somebody wrote this, and this actually makes a lot of sense. I didn't really have time to check it all out, but it actually does make sense, because if you take a look at the size of the Ukraine, most people think Ukraine's just a little tiny thing, like Israel or something like that. But if you look at it, Ukraine's pretty big. For those that ask why, this is a friend of mine that wrote this on Facebook. But like I say, I read through it and it sounds feasible. Again, I'll do the research on it, but this might actually have a little bit of something to do with why we're allowing them to do what we're allowing them to do, because, well, either that or we don't want Russia to do what they were doing, because Ukraine was actually endeavoring all of us in this good stuff. But it's the second largest country by area in Europe. By area, has a population of over 40 million, which is more than Poland. Ukraine ranks number one in Europe in proven recoverable reserves of uranium ore. Second place in Europe and 10th place in the world in terms of titanium ore. Second place in the world in terms of explored reserves of manganese ores, 2.3 billion tons, or 12% of the world's reserves. Second largest iron ore reserves in the world, 30 billion tons. Second place in Europe in terms of mercury ore. So yeah, these guys have got a lot of minerals that sounds like both Russia and China want and need. And of course, China's always been trying to take over all the minerals, all the mineral rights. They have a lot of their own, but they don't have all of them. You can't actually in the entire earth. Bruin Backhand says, wow, last I heard, they weren't letting any male over 18 leave the country. They also distributed 1,000 firearms to civilians. Oh, okay, just 1,000? But yeah, like I say, the headline that I saw on that was that they were distributing firearms to the citizens if they would volunteer to defend the Ukraine. Hallie, hey Hallie, how are you? My regular person on here, she calls me regularly, says there will be a lot of street violence. Yes, I'm sure of that. They're relying on a civilian force. Yes, yeah, like I said, that's what the headline was telling me. Ukraine was once the breadbasket of Russia. Ah. Okay, well, I can see in that case why Biden is telling everybody that he wants to reestablish the Soviet Union. Although that doesn't sound like the indicator, but then again, these are politicians, including Putin. there's been a lot of people saying, oh, we need to hand it to Putin. Yeah, he's a KGB. He's originally a KGB person, which they were some of the smartest people in Russia, which they were also the oppressors in Russia. They were the Soviet Union's version of, I guess you could say, our Secret Service, or maybe the SS from Germany. So yeah. Let's see. Mercury. Then they're third place in Europe, 13th place in the world in shale gas reserves, 22 billion cubic meters. Fourth in the world by the total value, can't talk. Total value of natural resources. Like I say, they're a very big prime natural resource area in the world. And of course, they're supposedly our allies. And, another reason why a lot of people think this is going on too, and of course this is a simplistic reason, but it also could mean a lot. If indeed Putin is going in there to fight the oppressors, or fight the fascists and everything like that, are those the people that are actually the 10% for the big guy people? That's, like I say, I'm trying to put it in such a way to make it sound nicer than it is, because they've been keeping, as I say, they've been telling us forever and ever that that's Russian misinformation. All right. So that was actually another question I had too. And when 451 Actual called, I was talking about actually all the videos and all the things that I've seen, some of which have already been debunked. And you can actually do a reverse on some of them, and they'll tell you the original date of some of these pictures. Like I say, one or two of them that I saw that were originally debunked were these black and white targeting photos. It looked like from a plane. They had the squares and all that on them and everything, and it supposedly was showing the damage done. You know how it takes a picture of where you're supposed to do the bomb, and then when the bomb hits and all of that. Those were supposedly faked. There was a real sad one. It was a very quick one. And of course, I'm curious as to how somebody had one of these types of cell phones in that particular area, because it really looked like a very shanty, rundown, poor area where a plane comes through and there's missiles shot from the plane, and it hits right next to this little shack that this person is filming from, and of course their child starts screaming. I can only imagine what that's like. We're actually blessed here in the United States. We haven't had anything like that on a scale like that. They've blown up a building and they've had fires and things like that, but it's most of our damage has been from natural causes, hurricanes, things like that. Let's see, fourth in the world by value of natural resources, and seventh in the world in coal reserves. Now, I've heard also too that China is ramping up that production as well. They're having to. So, let's see. Hallie says on YouTube, she says, I just heard there is radioactive dust floating towards Europe because of fighting near Chernobyl. That wouldn't surprise me. In fact, I actually read a headline earlier today that said that the Russians actually have captured Chernobyl now. So they're using, I guess they'll probably use the power for it, or shut the power off to make the, so that the Ukrainians can't win. It's one of those strategies. Strategies. Let's see. Ukraine. Okay, back to why Ukraine is important. They rank first in Europe in proven recoverable resources. I've already done that one. Let's see. Oh, they're also an important agricultural country. First in Europe in terms of arable land area. Third place in the world by the area of black soil. 25% of the world's volume. In other words, they've got very, very rich soil. First place in the world in exports of sunflower and sunflower oil. Second place in the world in barley production, and fourth place in barley exports. third largest producer of and fourth largest exporter of corn, fourth largest producer of potatoes, fifth largest rye producer, fifth place in the world in bee production, eighth place in the world in wheat exports, ninth place in the world in production of chicken eggs, and 16th place in the world of cheese exports. The Ukraine can actually meet the food needs of 600 million people. That's twice the population of the United States. Let's see. I don't have very many people talking to me here on Odysee. Is anybody on Odysee still? Let's see. Ukraine. All right, there I am. All right. I think I'm all back up again. And of course, the minute I get back up, I'm going to go back down again. This stupid thing. Like I was saying, I don't like to beg, and you notice I don't ever, I usually forget to even ask. But this is why I need y'all's help and support, because I literally need new equipment, or at least a new video card. Because that's the problem that my diagnostics keep telling me that I'm having with this, is my video card is not big enough for all of this. And I really and truly am not got that much up, or am doing that much. Let's see. Hallie says, yes, they are the breadbasket. Yeah, actually, it sounds like they were. All right, I got a phone call. Somebody's taking a chance. You are on the air.
Oh, hi, it's Hallie. Hi, I tried calling you a little earlier. I'm going back and forth between you and there's somebody, a friend of mine, who's got a YouTube video. Hi, yeah, again, I'm at work, so I can't be that long. I just wanted to know, I missed the first part a little bit, so I'm sorry for any repetition, but what do you make of this whole thing going on in Ukraine? Is it like World War III or Armageddon, or I mean, do you think ultimately it's a nothing burger, or how do you view the thing going on there?
Well, I think that there's something going on there, but I don't think that they're telling us the entire truth about it, as usual.
Yeah, well, I just don't understand. I mean, I understand that Ukraine has a lot of physical wealth, but I don't. To me, both countries are just so corrupt and incompetent. I mean, obviously Russia's stronger, but I still can't understand. Yeah, like you said, maybe there's something we don't know. Like, why are they why is Ukraine such a threat in the first place? And I don't really have a dog in this fight. I don't know which is, which I side with. I don't, wouldn't certainly like the idea of somebody invading my country, but why? Yeah, you, like you said, I mean, there's something they're not telling us. I mean, why? I mean, Russia could barely manage her own people, but I just kept wondering, like, why they. I'm not even sure what Ukraine even gained by independence years ago. It seems like both countries are dysfunctional, but I don't know why they, Yeah. I mean, do you think we should go in? I mean, I don't know what Biden's doing. The guy, so he's kind of out of it anyway.
Well, my speculation on that is, if the Ukraine loses, then the big guy loses. Remember the 10% for the big guy thing. So I'm sure that a lot of his cronies stand to lose stuff over there. I'm thinking that part of it.
Oh yeah.
Part of what they're saying to us, some of the things that they're like, that seems like that it's not good, and some things have been debunked as far as some of the actions that they're taking over there. I'm thinking that they're using that partially as a distraction, because I actually did mention earlier that we do have other kind of important things that are going on that nobody's even mentioning right now, like CPAC and what's the other thing? Oh, and of course this convoy that's going across the United States.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a distraction. Obviously you can't ignore it either.
No.
But I don't advocate isolationism either, but I feel that we can't ignore our own problems. And Trump was right though about Ukraine. Boy, I miss him. I don't know how this is going to work out in the end. I mean, would the Russians want to stay in Ukraine? Are they? I don't know enough about it really I just didn't think that anybody was really being mistreated there.
From what I'm reading, but I don't trust this either. Like I say, don't forget who Putin is. He was one of the most manipulative people on the planet at one point. I don't think that changed once he became a leader. So you may or may not trust what he's saying, but he's trying to. He's actually, his reasoning, Putin's reasoning supposedly is that he's going after actual Nazis, actual fascists. So
they were a lot of Ukrainians were, I know during World War II, a lot of them were, signed because they hated the Russians so much, or they hated the communists rather. So, he's definitely not going to restore communism. I mean, it's just sad to me to see the kids here falling for it. Because they're not, he's definitely not going to restore that. I worry more about China doing that than it's I don't know. It's really just hard to know the motives or the outcomes. I guess you said the civilian population there is armed, and I'm just wondering, like symbolically, do you think, considering all the idiocy going on in this country, the woke culture, the liberalism, do you think this is sort of going to put a damper on it? I mean, people maybe it might. If there's any silver lining to this, do you think that people might wake up or hear this? Maybe the absurdity here might dissipate or in some way. I mean, do you see this as having a certain effect like that?
No.
I was just wondering. I mean,
no, not really. I don't think so. Actually, the funniest part about this whole thing was, especially in this press conference that he did, was he knew that Putin wants to reestablish the Soviet Union, but he didn't know whether or not Putin was willing to nuke us or not. So he knew something that was actually subjective, but he didn't know something that actually they could go over there, their intelligence could tell them. So no, I don't think it will.
I don't know. Yeah, we're considering this. Yeah, I don't know. It's so depressing what's going on in this country. I was hoping that something that would maybe invigorate people here. At least if there's any consolation, at least some of the COVID laws, rules here are kind of.
Yeah, well, I think that this trucker rally thing is actually invigorating people here, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, they woke up.
I think that's the reason why Biden is actually using this Ukraine thing to embellish and make things worse than they probably are, and make us pay attention more than we probably need to be, because they're trying to take all eyes off of what's going on here.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a whole detract. Yeah. No, listen, whoever thought that Canada would inspire Yeah, I like Canadians. I like Canada. Just wow. Yeah. Just just very interesting to see. But it's definitely a lot of it's some of it's scary, I guess. The chaos. Yeah. Anyways, I've got to get back to work here. But just rear my ugly head, ugly.
Well, I appreciate you calling.
Yeah. Oh, no problem. Anybody else calling with their insights, probably more astute than I. Okay.
Oh, I know.
So,
Most people are more astute than I am. I do this because we all need to get our voices out there, and
I know.
you never can tell if somebody's going to have a point of view that it's like, hey, I never thought of that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Help me see things differently, help clear my mind. I don't have expertise in any of this, so so it's hard for me to say what's right, what's right or wrong. It's probably the shaded area. Okay, all right. So be well, and good luck. Enjoy the rest of the show here. Okay, bye.
Okay, thank you. Good night. All right, shout out to Hallie. That's one of my regular callers. She's been one of my first callers. Actually, 451 actual was my very first caller. And then she called right after that, and she's called me every night or every Thursday night since we started the show. I appreciate you being here. And of course, like I say, you've seen the crashes, and I'm not guaranteeing that there won't be any more crashes. Although that one worked. She called through and that one worked. So, whew, cross your fingers. Take a chance on me. The number to call is 409-877-1243. Or you can Skype me at ldghwih@gmail.com. This is the place where the world wants to know what you have to say. So call me and tell them like it is. Tonight, of course, we're talking about the invasion of Ukraine. And what's going on with that, things that we believe about it, things that we don't believe about it. Like I said before, I've seen a bunch of stuff on it today. There's even been a few debunked videos and pictures. Like I say, it's real hard to really know what the hell is going on, except for if you get, perhaps you get some video from actual citizens of the Ukraine. And of course, there's been a few things that have come out where they report on, like I say, the chancellors and the leaders of the Ukraine are now recruiting their citizenship and literally giving guns to them and saying, hey, we need your help to protect our country. Again, I don't know for sure exactly what Russia goes over there for, except for the fact, like I said, it could be the fact that Putin wants to reestablish the Soviet Union. I can't see him doing that particularly, but maybe something close. What do you know? Another phone call. Somebody took another chance on me. You are on the air.
Citizens of Ukraine.
You have to mute me.
Hello?
Hello.
This is the first time I've ever called anybody.
Oh, hello. Really? Ever?
Yeah, it's the first time I was listening, and I just seen you on I watched you on ABL, and I says, oh, she seems so interesting.
Oh, thank you. I'm not really. I actually am doing this so that you can call in and tell the people what you've heard and tell the world what you think about a lot of this stuff.
Okay. The thing that's going on in Ukraine, right?
Yes.
We've been through this in 2014 with Obama, so I'm thinking this is just a distraction. This is a distraction from the protests and the convoys that we're having all around the world to keep people's minds on this instead of what's truly going on in our own countries.
I agree.
That's my opinion on that. And people need to realize we're not even considered countries anymore. We're considered colonies, and there's 13 colonies running this scam job that's going on. And there's only 2 corporations that own all the money in the world. And we're talking Vanguard and BlackRock.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knows who these people are. Everybody you see on TV, none of them are the ones that are the real deal, the masters behind the scenes. We are not seeing the real people. In my opinion, and this is only my opinion, I think they live underneath us. I think they came there.
You mean like underground?
Yes, I think they live underground. They're not seen, and they are the Ice Age civilization that survived, and they cannot come on top of the earth, but they still run everything from underneath. That's my 3 cents. That's the way I feel about it.
Well, it's gotten to the point where anything is possible.
Very true. But yeah, people tend to look at just their own country, but I find myself telling a lot of people this is global. This isn't something that's ever happened. This is global. It's not happening to one country. It's happening to the world.
Yes. They started it just before Bush Sr. got in office or started making moves about it.
Well, we have to look at 9/11. We had 2 towers and we went down to 1. When I seen that, the first thing that went through my head was total takeover. In other words, they took down the Freemasons. Freemasons meant free. Free builders. That's just in my mind. This is the way I think.
Are you from that area?
So that's what I'm from Mass.
Oh, okay.
I'm from Boston.
You were close.
Mass.
You were close.
Yeah, I was very close to that. But I knew right away that that was a planned job. Silverstein, the people that own that, those 2 buildings, 10 days before those buildings were taken down, they took out insurance for, I think it was millions and millions of dollars for both of them. 10 days before those buildings were taken down.
That sounds like an organized crime move there.
Yeah, Bin Laden was a CIA op. He used to live in San Diego. His sons still live here.
Yeah, and I've read about his his niece?
I'm not so sure. Didn't she die?
One of them's over there is advocating for the United States. It was either Bin Laden or Saddam Hussein.
No, I think it was Bin Laden's niece, and I think she ended up getting killed.
Oh no! I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that
when she started going on.
Go ahead.
When she started going on the TV shows, I think it was after that, like maybe a year or 2 after that. So she got an accident or something, and she ended up getting killed. I know the one son that I know that I seen him interview, he's still here and he's still alive. That was Bin Laden's son. But see that to me can be like a scam too, because I mean, come on, you're flying over the ocean and you throw a body out because of what? Huh?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. But they expect us to be so stupid that we're just going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I can understand you doing that.
Well, a lot of normies, I guess they call us. Like I say, I used to be one, and I'm still pretty naive about a lot of this stuff. But a lot of normies don't even know. They have zero clue what's going on at all. Well, I was gonna say a lot of them, and just like me, we're living our own lives, trying to put food on our own tables, keep roofs over our own heads. And, you know, all these world economic and everything like that doesn't seem to actually affect us that much until it does, which is when we start sending our sons and daughters over there.
Yeah, the economics is where it's at. If you go on the economic forum, if anybody ever did, they would know from start to finish everything that was going on, just like Agenda 21,
right.
201, 21, Agenda 21. I mean, it was all right in front of everybody's faces, but people don't want to watch that. If it makes them uncomfortable, they look the other way. We really were a society in denial. I think we're all sick. I think we're all bipolar and psychotic.
Well, they started drugging kids in the 80s when they wouldn't sit still. They couldn't. The thing about the schools were that they were originally developed to produce factory workers. People that could follow orders, assemble things, do things, and be able to sit in a place for 8 to 10 hours a day without any kind of anything like that. Kids started getting out of that. In fact, in the 80s is actually when you had the big boom of people having home businesses and stuff like that. And it wasn't a matter of doing the manufacturing. In fact, they'd already started getting rid of all the manufacturing jobs already, but they were still teaching the students to be factory workers, which they're looking around and saying, okay, why are you teaching us something that not here anymore?
Exactly. And another thing, in the 1980s, was it mandatory for you to go to school yet?
Oh yeah. It was.
Okay,
it was. I can remember when I first.
Go?
I can remember when I first started in '76. I think it was, or a little bit. Am I back? I am on YouTube. It takes forever to get back on Odysee. Sorry about that, caller. I don't know how long you've been watching me, but I've been having crashing problems. Give me a call back if you're still listening. Yep, I'm back. Sorry about that, you guys. Like I said before I got this phone call, I was actually mentioning that I try not to beg on this channel. In fact, I forget to. Everybody, we get so into the conversations and all of that and everything like that, I forget to ask. But I really could use some donations. I have a link down here to my my PayPal. If you can, as every penny goes right back into the stream, which, as you can tell, I need new equipment. My diagnostics always tell me that it's my video card. I've only got a 2 gig video card. I'm supposed to have at least an 8 gig or a 9 gig. I think that's what they told me, video card. And the cheapest one I've been able to find so far with this wonderful inflation that's been going on has been, what was it, $600, I think it was. I think I found one for $4.99, but it wasn't going to fit. It was like, just one pin off. So, and of course, I've been shopping for that. I'm still shopping for that. In fact, one of my buddies on here, there you are. Okay, now that's working again, I think. And of course, I lose followers every time this thing crashes. I am so sorry, guys. But again, now you see, I absolutely am in need of some new equipment. When I started out doing this, I bought something just for videos, just doing videos. And of course, actually, it ended up not even being actually good enough for that. After about 25 days of having this brand new computer, one of the things that really makes me want to pull my hair out is I can play one of these huge, ginormous video games where the video looks all realistic and you can move the thing around and there's no lag and there's no anything else like that. But I get on here and start trying to do videos myself and crash. Sometimes I think it's because, and it feels like it's because of the fact that maybe Windows, this particular version of Windows or whatever, has been programmed to recognize certain words and phrases it especially seems to happen when I'm talking about something controversial or something that our powers that be have deemed, what do they call it? Well, they're calling it misinformation. They've called it everything under the book, including anybody that utters any of these words, names, as far as that goes too. So I'm so sorry about that, caller from Massachusetts. I appreciate your call. Shout out to the caller. I am going to look into what you were talking about. We got some underground people ruling the world. That's a wild assumption, or a wild theory, or a wild... But again, anything is possible. You know, the average person, like we were talking about before, the average person literally is more worried about their survival, food, clothing, housing, job, money, you know, all the things that we are supposed to live by. And of course, the programming that they are done by, that it's done to them from before even birth, to consume. In fact, that's actually one of the first things that they teach you in some of the college classes that I went to. I was actually, when I went back to college at 40, actually I was 38 at the time. I went back to a state college, UNO, and took communications, which actually, again, is just a fancy way of learning how to advertise effectively. And of course the history of that and everything like that. But back in the 50s is when the advertisers and everybody that was in charge of all of this stuff and influencing people actually realized that if they start, the younger they start, the longer they have a consumer. And of course, the younger they start, whenever their generation has another generation, they're going to automatically steer that generation into buying those products as well. So you know, that's why you've had people like Coke and some of these food places and things like that. These manufacturers, they've been around since the 50s and 60s. Or actually, some of them have been around for hundreds of years, because that's how they did their advertising, or how they do their advertising. In fact, advertising literally started with cave drawings. And that was part of the history. But that's where I was going to say, you learn quickly and you learn real fast what you want. You want this, you want that. They make, you know, it starts with the little kids especially. You see them, you plop them down in front of the television. They tell you, hey, come learn this, come learn that. We'll entertain your child. And of course, in the meantime, they're advertising to your child. Oh, get your parents to buy you this bright, colorful toy that will fall apart the minute you touch it. Or the dye will come off on your skin. But we don't care if you can use it, or if you're going to use it, or what it does to you, as long as you don't sue us. And then, of course, we have to change it. Just as long as you buy it. Just consume. They don't teach you how to make anything anymore. They don't teach you how to cook anymore. In fact, I've seen videos on YouTube of kids... young people saying, man, I sure wish I knew how to do some of this stuff that, you know, I sure wish they would have taught me how to sew. I got a bunch of clothes sitting over here that I'd love to wear, but they're all missing buttons and all. And it's like, really? You don't know how to even figure out how to sew a button? But yeah, it's weird. People can't think past their nose anymore. It's like, oh, I lost the button. Okay, clothing over there. It'll sit there until it rots. Or until I give it to the Goodwill or something like that. Which, I don't know if that happens either. Anyway, I'm sitting here rambling. I am back. I'm not seeing a whole lot of conversation on my Odysee. I guess all of those crashes caused everybody to go to see... who else is on tonight? A Loyal 9? I think he's on tonight. I didn't even see my buddy Wage tonight. He's usually always here. Of course, he's busy. Like I said before, Wage is actually busy setting up his own platform. He's going to actually have a platform similar to Odysee. Once he gets that all set up, I'm going to become a creator on that channel as well, or on that platform as well. The number to call, 409-877-1243. The world wants to know what you have to say, so call me and tell them like it is. I do appreciate the callers tonight already that we've had. Once again, our topic tonight is the Ukrainian invasion from Russia, which is real weird too. Another real weird thing about this also too is the fact that we've gone on for so long demonizing Russia when they weren't actually really doing anything at all. In fact, like I say, it seemed a lot of times like whenever you would see Putin on any kind of a stream or any kind of a news thing or anything like that, he's kind of sitting back just twiddling his thumbs, almost as if he was biding his time. And of course, it's easy for those guys that are in power all the time. I mean, how long has Xi Jinping been in charge? How long has little Rocket Man been in charge? How long has Putin actually been in charge? I mean, these guys never changed their leadership. So they basically know with the United States, if they wait long enough, they can do whatever they want. Because at one point or another, we're going to get somebody. And it seems like we get them in there every 20 years or so. We get somebody in there that's so weak or so out of it or so corrupt that the rest of the world can just do whatever the hell they want to do, and the United States will just sit back until somebody else gets in power, until it actually does affect the normies enough. And of course, like I say, if we start sending thousands and thousands and thousands of people to war like we did back in World War II, I think a lot of normies are going to take notice, because you know damn well that if it gets any bigger than it is, or if it does get into a world war, you know they're going to reestablish the draft. They're going to be sending people out to war that don't want to even be involved in the military. It's happened already before. I mean, hell, look at the Ukraine. The Ukraine's actually doing it, and they haven't even actually did a draft. They have just, sent out guns to their civilians and say, help, help. Which is odd as well. Like I say, I'm on the fence when it comes to what is actually going on over there. Mainly because of the fact that, we've had our commander-in-chief has been in office in Washington on the government dole for almost 50 years now, and this man has never been trustworthy. It seems like he never tells the truth. So why would I believe him about any of this stuff now? Okay, and then to get up there and tell us that he doesn't know whether he doesn't know what Putin is planning. He doesn't know what Putin is planning with regards to nuclear disaster, but he just absolutely knows that he wants to reestablish the Soviet Union, which that hasn't even been an inkling. There's no hint of that anywhere. Of course, you don't tell your enemies what you're planning on doing either. So again, this is a speculation. So Biden can read this guy's mind, but he has no idea, which he should know, about something that is actually intelligence oriented, that they should be watching, they should be knowing about. And of course, he did threaten us in that speech that he made. There was one more thing that really bothered me about this too. Oh, the fact that he let us know, he literally let us know that we're just threatening to impose sanctions on Russia. We're just threatening that. So, in fact, that was one of the things I was going to talk about too when I got that other phone call, was the fact that the press literally ripped him a new one today over a lot of this stuff. Because when he did say the fact that he's threatened these sanctions, which aren't going to do anything, because if Putin takes over Ukraine, he's got all of those minerals and all of that stuff that he can take over and just sell. The United States is going to be like, whatever. He's not going to give a shit. And I don't think he does anyway. He doesn't sound like the type of person that actually depends on other countries for his own country's whatever. They didn't during the Soviet Union, or maybe they did. I don't know. Like I say, I was been a normie up until a couple of years ago. And I'm not up on a lot of this foreign stuff at all. However, like I say, I'm doing the reading, doing whatever we're seeing on here. But like I say, I don't trust the man. I don't trust either one of them. I don't trust the people in Ukraine either. So, and I also think that we have way more problems of our own that we need to be handling here as well. And again, like I say, I think that some of the lies, some of this stuff could be going on there, and some of it could be being embellished, because again, there are other things that are going on that the Democrats and the left, or especially the Democrats, I'll just say the Democrats, don't want us paying attention to. One is CPAC. Has anybody mentioned, in fact, in all of the news that I've seen today, I've seen two people, and this is just two people. These aren't even newscasters or anything like that. Just two people in some chat somewhere talking about, oh, hey, has anybody checked out CPAC? And they said that the guy from Project Veritas had just finished speaking. And of course, we got Nikki Haley coming in there. Now, again, I am on the fence about that as well. Again, don't forget, one of the ways that the Republicans have kind of sort of like lost it over the last 20 years or something like that is that you got these other side kind of infiltrating into. That's where you get the rhinos from. They're always agreeing with the other side. They're always throwing the Republicans under the bus or voting against the Republicans. So that's part of it. But also, too, like I say, she's a Democrat. I understand that we're trying to and always try to reach over the aisle and come together with people like they always say that we don't. But at the same time, you gotta remember to try to know your enemies. Olive branches are great, but not if that person's going to take it and snatch it from you and slap you across the face with it. You get me? You know what I'm talking about? It's like, you can't, and how many times do they have to do that to us before we actually say no more? Because from the way that they talk, and it's always some kind of doublespeak. You'll always hear Biden getting up there, unity, 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 but the Republicans suck. That's not going to create unity. Not to mention the fact that most people would ask, hey man, if those people over there suck so much, why do you want to be united with them? Why would you want to be in a situation or in a space where you're not welcome? I don't think I would want to be. And like I say, she's still a Democrat. She could be infiltrating. I wouldn't trust her. Let her speak and everything like that, but don't give her any positions of power. In fact, that was something also too. We just did our early voting here for our primaries here in Texas for governor and railroad commissioner and all of the local and state elected officials. But it also had some, like, what do they call it, edicts or things that they're going to put on the law books. One of which was, should the Republicans continue, or should the Republicans not make a space for any Democrat appointed civil servants, or not civil servants. Anyway, basically it was a Democrat, like maybe advisor or something like that in the Republican Party as far as that goes, or some kind of board member or something. I forget exactly how they worded it, but it was literally, it's like, and I'm thinking to myself, we were doing this? We were literally making a point to appoint someone from the other side to one of our committees, to our judicials, whatever it is that we're doing, the things that we're trying to do. Again, like I say, I can see trying to reach over the aisle, but letting them in charge of what we're doing, they would have to prove themselves awfully heavy duty when it comes to it. And it's not necessarily a loyalty to the actual party, but it's a loyalty to the premise. So yeah, you basically, we've been letting the enemy in, especially with as divided as everybody is now, as far as that goes. So, and of course, you all know what my mantra is about that. I'm sorry, I'm not coming together or making any kind of a agreement with anyone that just wants me gone, because they're going to use that kindness against me, and they will. In fact, people that just want you gone, they'll do anything to make that happen, even if you know, and you don't want to hand them the weapon. So this is another reason why I'm such an advocate of free speech, because you got to if you let people talk long enough, they will tell you exactly who they are. And you have to know. I have to know for myself, because I need to know who the fuck to stay away from. Or who the hell is not going to be in my circle. Forewarned is forearmed. So, you know, pay attention to what people tell you, because eventually they'll tell you exactly who they are. And if something doesn't set right with you, or if you see a cruelty come out of them, you know, why would you put yourself in that situation so that you'll be the next victim? I wouldn't do it. All right, I've got time for one more phone call before we end the night. I appreciate everybody being here. Once again, I am terribly sorry about the crashes that we've been having. Just tells you guys that, thank you, sweetie, that I have a piece of shit machine at the moment, or at least the video card is. That's the first thing I want to try and change. Everything else seems to be great. In fact, somebody sent me extra memory, so I've got plenty of CPU memory, but that doesn't usually change a whole lot. And in fact, if I've got more memory pushing into an already small video card, it's going to work even worse, in my opinion. Yes, that's a very good point, Bruin Backhand. Not just what I said with regards to know who to stay away from, but you also know who you can't turn your back on. You got to know who to watch out for. And like I say, these people, you know, in fact, people like to talk about themselves. I try not to a whole lot. In fact, I don't anymore. Just the fact that I'm trying to do this and I'm advertising to try and get the show out there. But that's actually for everyone else's benefit. I want people to call me and call in. And once again, like I say, Boston, I'm so sorry about that. I've really been having trouble with my computer lately. Last week seemed to be okay. But it was the minute we mentioned... I think it was, I don't know what we were talking about. I think we were talking about China again. Coffee talk. The number to call, 409-877-1243. Where's all my peeps? I say my crash has probably chased everyone away. Once again, I have to apologize, but I'm literally apologizing for my piece of junk computer. Like I say, even after I first bought it, it started crashing on me especially whenever I would do something that was controversial. There was one that I was doing. I think it was the first time I'd ever seen that April person that fills in for Joy Reid. And it was right after the RNC for 2020, I think. Yeah, for the 2020 elections, right after the RNC and she got up there and literally called it a minstrel show and said that all the black people that were a part of the RNC were tokens. And it kind of blew my mind, because after that, she basically said that the only reason why they put those people on that show and everything. And like I say, I watched both of the RNC and the DNC. The DNC, to me, was like Cirque du Soleil. They had all of these celebrities on there, and that one guy that wears the long coats and stuff. In fact, I'd love to have some of his wardrobe. If that tells you anything about this guy. But he's all up there, you know, floating around and doing the dance and, you know, real insignificant shit. And in the meantime, I watched the RNC, and the RNC was people talking about their successes, people talking about their, there was a few legal immigrants that came on and said they came for a better life and they made their fortune here, and that there's no better place and all of that, and that they're seeing it go away. And of course, if you really want to know what's going on and how all of this works and everything like that, talk to somebody who escaped these countries that don't have this freedom. In fact, a lot of those people you saw in Canada Which why they picked Canada, I'll never know, because that's never been a truly free state, not like the United States has. But they had their freedoms, and actually they were able to work, and they were pretty much left alone for the most part. But I saw a lot of immigrants there that had came from places like Bosnia, that had came from places like Iran, that had came from places that, in fact, they ran from them because they were free at first, and then somebody came in and took over and turned into the dictators. They had no food anymore. They couldn't walk on the streets anymore. They couldn't buy the things or listen to the music that they wanted to listen to anymore. It was like they went from some freedom to absolutely no freedom, and then they fled to a place that actually had freedom. And now they're watching that freedom be stripped from them again. In fact, one of the guys said that it was even worse, or one of the ladies from Poland, I believe she was, said that it was even worse in Canada at this time, because of the fact that even when they were back in Poland, they were allowed to go to church. When they were under communist rule and everything like that, even then they were allowed to go out and go to church and do things. She said that Canada, nobody can go out, nobody can do anything. They won't let you go to church. They're burning the churches down. So yeah, if you really want to know what it's like in these countries and what they're trying to impose on us here in the United States and Canada and the Western countries. In fact, Australia's already seeing it and going through it. In fact, even Australia was like, wow, man, Canada went off the wires. Australia was bad, but man, Canada was worse. So yeah, they're right above us. And I didn't hear Biden or any of our administration, even on the Republican side, except for maybe 2 people, condemning this. Condemning Trudeau as a dictator. In fact, he imposed it, and their parliament still hasn't voted on it yet. Or maybe they have. Yeah, Bruin Backhand on YouTube says, I saw a lot of interviews with truckers that were from Romania, lived under Ceausescu. Yeah, Ceausescu, yep. That's why I say there was a lot of people in Canada that had already been there and already lived there seeking freedom. And then they were watching it being taken away from them again. They recognized it. I would venture to say that's one of the reasons why they all went out. Because actually, when they were in their respective countries, they couldn't have done that there. So they still were fighting for their freedom. They still had enough freedom to go out and start fighting for their freedom. Trudeau withdrew the Emergency Act, apparently. But didn't they keep part of it? Bruin Backhand says that didn't look good for him in the Senate. Well, it didn't look good when he did it. And he did it for long enough to bring in the UN soldiers or whatever it was that they brought in that didn't have badges or badge numbers or name tags or any kind of insignias whatsoever, and kind of sort of beat those people back. So yeah, it may not have looked good in the Senate, but he didn't do anything about it until after it was all done. And I still think that, didn't his deputy say that they were going to keep the bank closures or the bank freezing assets and things like that? Didn't they say they were going to keep that aspect of it? Am I back? Am I back? Now it says I had some kind of an encoding error. And OBS crashed. Unbelievable. Alright. I don't know how many people are on Odysee at the moment. That's YouTube. Well, the show is almost over. I will take another phone call. I'll stay on as long as people are calling or listening or whatever like that. However, we do it's almost 9 o'clock. I try not to stay on past 9 o'clock. I know people on the East Coast have to work and go to bed and whatever like that. I'll stay up for those who are still up or whatever. Am I back on Odysee? Once again, I'm really sorry, guys. But as you can tell, this is the reason why I need new equipment. Like I said before, if you guys are so inclined to help me out, you like my work, and would like to continue to keep calling in and exercising your First Amendment rights, please make sure you give us a donation. If nothing else, share this. Make comments. Smash the like button, the fire button. Hit me up on the alternatives. I'm on Odysee. I'm on BitChute. I'm on Rumble. I'd also like a chance to be able to... Kitty. I'd also like to be able to get a chance to be able to afford to stream on Rumble. Actually, the minimum is $25 a month, and I just can't swing that yet. I'm still catching up. Don't forget, they took away my business during all of this, and wasn't really getting any kind of an income for almost 2 years. That's another reason why my computer is so cheap, or why I got as best as I could. But like I say, the evidently the video card was never good enough. So so help me out if you can. Yeah, literal brown shirts. Let's see. Are you even still there? I would surprise me. Oh, cool. Okay. Yes, Bruin Backhand said that was creepy. Literal brown shirts. Yeah, they were. Like I say, they had, excuse me, you could tell that they didn't have no name tags, no badge numbers. There was no insignias. They didn't actually belong in Canada, because you could see who the Mounties were in Canada and all of that. They had the yellow vests and all that. But also, too, they weren't saying anything, which actually gave the impression, a lot of people, that they didn't speak English or French. Oh, okay. Thank you, Star Child. I'm so sorry about that. I'm having such horrible time with the computer today. And actually, it was fine until halfway through the stream. But I also think that there's other reasons, too. We were starting to talk about China, and we were starting to talk about some things that the powers that be don't want us to even know. Because if we know about it, we can talk about it. And if we can talk about it, it might raise somebody's eyebrows enough to where they'll actually want to do something about it. If nothing else, run for office, as far as that goes. Some people, in fact, we got some people out there now, and they're not getting a whole lot of coverage. I'm following some of them, like, I can't remember that guy's name. He's got really, really long hair, and he goes around and he cleans up neighborhoods, and he's going around getting people to register Republican and register Independent, and trying to get people to start running for their local elected officials, because that's actually what actually affects most of us the most, is the local officials. Once you get up to the presidential level, a lot of that stuff, some of it'll mess with you, because, they do the taxes and things like that, but you got the government programs and stuff like that, but most of the time in the private sector, it doesn't really matter who the president is, unless they start the Wars Act or whatever it is, which actually, that was something else I just realized. And just Scott Presley, thank you, Bruin Backhand. I don't remember a lot of stuff either. Hey man, I'm getting old. I don't look like it, but I'm up there. The memory starts to go, and of course you get so much shoved in your head in one day. I told you I saw a lot of information today because of what was going on, and like I say, my take on it is, I think some of it is real. I think a lot of it is not, though. I believe that it's being embellished a little bit more than it needs to be, because there are other things that that side wants us to ignore. Namely, the convoy And it sounds like, from what I have been seeing and reading, that the convoy is actually getting pretty big. They're about halfway across the United States now. Supposedly they started, they started yesterday? Oh, maybe not halfway across. I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure exactly where they're at now. I know they started in LA somewhere. If I didn't have to work, I'd actually travel up there this weekend and see what was going on. Maybe do a little live streaming or something from my phone. But I have to work. I still have to pay my bills. Which, like I say, we're catching up after 2 years of not having anything and almost losing the house, yada, yada, yada. Like I say, I try not to beg too much, but you guys have been the witness to what crappy equipment that I have. But I'm still going to keep on chucking along and keep improving as we go. Every little bit helps, and every little bit goes right back into the stream to make it better for you guys so that you can call in and not get hung up on. And once again, I'm terribly sorry about that. I am having crashing problems again with the computer. But, like I say, I will wait for another 5 minutes if someone wants to call in. If not, we're going to end the show. Once again, I appreciate everybody being here tonight. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Of course, that's going to happen. If you can, like I say, if you can help me out, the links are below. I have a PayPal. I think that you can donate to me on Odysee as well. I don't remember if I have... attached my bank account or my PayPal account to the Odysee thing. I'm not real sure how some of that works, because that was actually supposed to be my secondary channel, and more it's becoming more of my main channel, mainly because of the fact, like I say, YouTube, I'm not very big, but YouTube seems to be shadow banning me as well. I don't usually get new subscriptions or anything like that unless I call into ABL's show or I comment on someone else's show or anything like that. Nobody has... I've had the same amount of followers for almost 6 months. It goes up and down a couple, but the most I got was about 30, and that was over a month ago. And that was only, like I say, only because I had just gotten on ABL's show and told everybody, hey man, I got a new live call-in talk show. After that, I got like 44 people, and they still took 8 more away from me after that. So I'm not really sure. Oh, Prowler, how are you? Ow! What is wrong with you? Kitty is in kitty mode. I have my little bonkers with me, and he insisted on being on my lap, but now he's in play mode. All right, don't hurt me. Did you see him just slap me in the face? I hope you didn't scratch me too hard. I got to be on stage tomorrow, you little bastard. But we love him. He's our little tailless putty. Oh, I see. He wants my glasses. Stop that. Hey, Morgan, come get this animal. Ow! Why are you Ow, 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 ow. All right, you're gone. Go bother Daddy. Ouch! He doesn't usually act like that. Okay, I'm all right. Let's see, Prowler. Okay, yeah, you're late. You're very late. Cat said, fuck that bitch. Yeah, kind of. That's our little kitty bitty. I don't know why he did like that. Actually, he wants my glass. He loves glasses. I don't care. I have to always take my glasses off when I get near him because he'll bat them off my face and start chasing them around the house. So, yeah, I think that's what it was. He wanted to play. Thank goodness he didn't break the skin. He usually doesn't. He's usually pretty gentle, but... Oh, Prowler. Okay, welcome to the show. Let's see. Trudeau's done. He failed his audition. Oops, I mean part. Yeah. Actually, from one of the things that I read about him, and I think I watch so many of you guys out there now too. One of the talking heads or one of the indie pundits was talking about how he actually thinks that Trudeau was actually installed in office too. mainly because of the fact that when he did actually win re-election, which blew everyone's mind, especially after all the blackface controversy, he won by like 2% maybe. I mean, it was very, very minuscule amount that Trudeau actually won by. So now I'm not sure how true that is, but if I was a Canadian and I had seen the blackface, and the thing about it is he hasn't just done it once. It wasn't just this mistake. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. He literally has done cultural appropriation with blackface at least seven times. Unapologetically on 5 of them at least. So I was like, who is voting for this guy? He's an obvious bigot by their standards. Personally, I don't give a shit. You can paint yourself purple if you wanted to. You know, I don't care. And the thing is you know, why was it that important for you to be that authentic? I mean, and of course the one picture out there that everybody's watching is the one where he's got the turban on and he's got his soy boy face that they call it, with the big wide mouth open. You said, "Hey, Prowler," and the cat went "Ree." Oh, that's possible. But I still think he wanted my glasses. He loves my glasses. Family man. Yeah, made dinner for the kids and the grandkids. Great. Prowler, good man. What was for dinner? Yep. Without a doubt. Prowler says, without a doubt, Trudeau's an installed puppet like P.O. Joe. Like I say, they pushed him just across the line. And I've never met anybody that actually likes the man. I would venture to say that there's some leftists here that excuse that, but they excuse everybody on that side for doing that. Can you imagine? And it's funny, they're always screaming about color this and color that. Trump is orange. He's a color. Just saying. Let's see. Starchild says, Dr. Oz is running. We need new city councils and school board members. But you really want Dr. Oz in there? Wasn't he the one? Let's see. Again, this stuff all runs together, so I might be wrong about this, but didn't he get caught selling bogus something or other? Some kind of diet product that ended up... Was that him that got sued for that? But yeah, I know Dr. Oz as a diet doctor. He pushes some kind of diet medicine or pills or something like that, doesn't he? Oh, yum. Curried beef over rice and chicken vegetable soup. That sounds delicious, Prowler. I had a hamburger. Dr. Oz? No, Oz asshole. Yes, people are saying, yep, and they have Cash Baby. Yeah, that's another thing too. Politics, and everybody says, oh, get the money out of politics, but that's all politics is. In fact, I remember when Trump had the websites out, or whatever it was, where he was collecting, he was selling hats, or he would send you something, donate $5 here, donate $5 there. People complained about that, but every other politician in the world is allowed to do that, but Trump wasn't. You wanted him to spend all of his billions of dollars, which he actually did for his first campaign. I mean, and anybody would be stupid not to take money offered to them unless it was dirty money, which sounds to me like as if most of the time the politicians actually wanted him to give them money. In fact, I just saw a video where he was at Mar-a-Lago. He was doing some kind of fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago, and he mentioned something about Mitch McConnell. And I think this is what happened. Mitch McConnell was actually losing the midterm election. What is it, 2018? He was losing his 2018 bid, and he asked Trump to speak for him, to back him and everything like that, and he did. And then as soon as he got back in office, he stabbed him in the back. So there was no loyalty. That's why I say, even on our side, I don't trust anybody on our side either. The Republicans are just as bad as the Democrats. I've always been an independent. In fact, I've had people try to label me in their own way with regards to what my political affiliation is or whatever, just based on what I talk about. And I always tell them, no, I'm an indie. I don't let either side tell me what the hell to do. You know, sometimes I agree with what the Democrats would say and do, and sometimes I would agree with what the Republicans would say and do. Now, I don't trust none of them. None of them. The unfortunate part about being an indie is the fact that usually anybody that goes into any of these third or fourth parties, these smaller parties and everything like that, are morons or just out there. Like Marianne Williamson, I'm going to do everything with love. Okay, that's great. What are you going to do about this? Love. No strategy, no nothing, our enemies aren't going to just respond like, oh, like this to love. She seemed like if she tried, she seemed like the type of person that actually can astral project, or at least tries to. Who said to get the kids jabbed? I'm sorry, I'm talking real fast here. Stark Child says, "Give me a few, I'll support you once a month. It's hard to find really people being who they are." That's what you see is what you get. I'm not the most educated person in the world. I'm not the brightest, smartest person in the world. Like I say, up until a couple of years ago, I was a normie. I wasn't paying hardly any attention to any of this at all. I had health problems, and then we had the lockdowns and everything like that, and there wasn't anything else to do. So when I started actually paying attention, it was like, good grief, what have I been missing? So forgive me if I'm not up on everything. And again, I was a normie. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff. I've never been into politics. Of course, they've pretty much made it to the point where you can't really do anything that they haven't made political. And of course, freedom of speech has always been extremely important to me because that is a part of expression, creativity, music. And of course, music, I've been in the music business for a really long time. So freedom of speech is not just important to me as a musician and a performer, but it's been important to everyone that has inspired me, that has gotten famous, that, Led Zeppelin, The Who, all of these guys that have come up and everything like that. The freedom of speech and everything has always been extremely important to them as well. Some of these guys come from countries where it wasn't, where they were squelched. They had some, but it was squelched. In fact, I don't know how many people out there know who Yngwie Malmsteen is. He's a guitar player. He's one of the top guitar players on the planet. According to them, personally, I think he's overrated because he doesn't, to me, he doesn't, he's great with the picking and all that, and he blah, 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 fast fingers, but he's no Roy Clark, okay? Roy Clark could play just about anything, and he could play that way, or he could strum, or he could keep a melody or something like that. Let's say, but that's beside the point. I remember an interview with Yngwie when Obama got in office, and when he was preaching about, or should I say, when he was discussing about or telling us, getting us all riled up about him being president so that he could fundamentally change the United States. But Yngwie, and of course I noticed this right away too, he never told us how he planned on changing the United States. And nobody ever asked him how, other than redistribution of wealth and all this other stuff. And of course, these were all communist talking points at the time. Yngwie came on and said, no, I'm from Austria. or one of the Scandinavia, I think, one of the Scandinavian countries over there. And he said that, we have our freedoms and everything like that. He says, but their socialism, basically, if you're not allowed to make more money than anyone else. And if you do, their government literally takes away anything over what they prescribe and gives it to everyone else, or takes it and just distributes it equally. The government actually does that in his country. He says they don't take pride in anyone doing better than anyone else. Everyone has to be exactly the same salary. Exactly. You can't. They won't allow you to do any better than anyone else. And he says that's a bummer, man. He says because here I am. I work my ass off on this stuff, and he says, and I'm not saying that I don't want to help people that are less fortunate, but at the same time, I don't want to be forced. He says, that's why I live in America now. He says, and America does not need to be changed. Not the way Obama was talking about it. So, again, he is an immigrant, a very exceptional immigrant, if you will, as far as his guitar playing. Like I say, he's world famous and he's rich. In fact, if you ever see him on stage, he's dripping in gold and diamond rings, and he's like the Liberace of our time with guitars. All right, if you remember Liberace, my great grandmother was in love with Liberace. I remember nobody could convince her that she was gay, that he was gay. I would. She's basically the equivalent of I wouldn't throw him out of bed for eating crackers. You know what I'm saying? What she didn't realize is he would have absolutely zero interest in her whatsoever. But yeah, if you want to know what it's like in these other countries, or what it's going to be like if we keep letting this stuff happen and keep allowing our leaders to get stupider and stupider and more in control and more tyrannical, talk to somebody that has escaped from one of those type of countries to come here, because they see it happening. They live through it and they see it happening now. I'm thinking that if we get, I'd actually like to get somebody, an immigrant from another country, and I've talked to them myself. I've went to school with them. They worked their asses off. They escaped. They crawled under fences. To get here. And they may have been wearing rags, but they knew that they could get better than that if they wanted to, and nobody was going to stop them. And they knew that they could complain about our government, and nobody was going to put them up against a wall and shoot them. All right, got a phone call. You're on the air.
Yeah, it was true, Sandy. I don't know. I figured I'd just call in the bullshit.
Oh, hey, Truth.
Just add to some stuff there. What I would like to point out is that I think the most important thing people can do, to be honest, if we want to fix what we're doing, is the precinctcaptain.com deal is like a big deal. I think we all need to get involved. You don't have to be a precinct captain, but I think if we all do the poll watching stuff on the midterms, it's harder for them to cheat. And we could be doing stuff like every single drop box, guess what? Get all Salty Army or, whatnot, 10 people with phones on that drop box and just stand there. If we all get involved, we can fix this deal. So everybody has to do some kind of poll watching. You don't have to do the precinct captain thing. It really is, I don't think it's, it's like once a month type deal. You don't always have to call people, and do the kind of stuff the Republican Party wants you to do. But if you just do the poll watching and things like that, it's harder for them to cheat. That Virginia shit was a big deal. How a Republican won that governorship is because they had 90% Republican, volunteers to poll watch. And in the past, it's always like 30%, 20%. And then all of a sudden it was 90. That's a crazy number. So,
well, I guess they were woken up from the last time.
That's my small little thing for a second.
It seems like maybe they were possibly woken up from the last time, because wasn't that the area where they were like pitting pizza boxes up and they weren't letting anybody in to do that?
That was Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
But, that's wrong. But see, what I'm saying is they wouldn't have been able to do that if we would have all went all in, So, but the Virginia thing was like crazy. That off, that was last year, so it was an off year. And guess what? A Republican won. That's crazy that a Virginia public. It's because the public was pissed. They were like, CRT in our schools. They were like, nah, we're good. And then all of a sudden it was 90%. That's a big number. 90% of
Indeed.
all poll watchers were done by Republicans. And in the past, it was always like 20, 30%, low number. They can't cheat if we're all watching. That's all I'm saying.
Well, they can't cheat easily. They always seem to find a way.
Yeah, they'll cheat, but if we get all involved, it's very hard for them to cheat. And, there's little things like the worst mistake they ever made was messing with the mom bears and the school boards.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that got people all rattled up. I mean, we're getting, oh, man.
The unfortunate part,
those ladies.
The unfortunate part about that is a lot of these school boards have been in action since the 80s. They've been slowly but surely sexualizing and indoctrinate our kids since the 80s. I can remember when I was in high school. School never made any fucking sense to me.
We weren't because we weren't paying attention.
Right.
I mean, that's,
Well, that's why I say they've been in there for
That's
a
my
long
bad.
time. Hopefully it won't take that long to fix it.
Well, obviously they're doing a good job nowadays on getting on the school boards and kind of watching that stuff. It took some crazy stuff to make that happen, but I think if we all just get involved, they can't win. You know what I mean? Like, that's why it's very important. If you could just do poll watching stuff. I plan on trying to get in on that poll watching stuff. I live in Washington State, so it's like all mail and balloting, so I'm kind of like looking into it. I'm like, how the hell is that?
Well, I was going to say, in your case,
because I'm just in a small town.
Yeah,
but,
in your case, the suggestion that you made as far as watching the ballot boxes and stuff like that is excellent, and what should be happening.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. Like, if you live in a state where there's ballot box things, why not just come up with some friends and you can even rotate. I'm just saying it'd even be better if you had like several people like just videotaping it. Just stand there, because you can't trust the videos that we've all know that Georgia, place like that, had a bunch of videotapes on that stuff. They have the footage. I mean, Denise D'Souza's going to come out with that thing. That movie's going to be it's gonna wake some normies up on that.
Well, let's hope so.
That's gonna be some good stuff.
His one about Hillary Clinton woke a bunch of normies up. So, yeah.
Or maybe kill you.
Yeah. That's
Sorry,
true.
I've been drinking some beer. So you mentioned Hillary. I just think like body count.
Yeah, well, he must have been over the mark.
I mean, it's like big numbers.
Yeah, well, he must have been over the mark because, they put him in jail for it. Trump
Hey, did you see that Epstein's best friend and or one of his good buddies got suicided in his prison just the other day?
Oh, right. Yeah, that might actually be another thing that they're trying to cover up, too.
Oh, but the cameras were off as well. It always works out.
Well, now, from what I heard, that particular jail cell didn't really have cameras per se, so there weren't any. But he supposedly had 9 guards supposedly watching him on suicide watch.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
So yeah, this is just something I read. I do like Salty. I read and watch this stuff almost all day and night. In fact, my husband gets mad at me sometimes because I spend more time doing this. But yeah, as I say, sometimes I see so much it goes all into one kind of big blob. That's why I can ramble on for so long.
Yeah, I watch Salty religiously. I don't miss one.
Well, I try not
What's
to,
the
but I have
best
to
out
work
there?
on some of the nights that he plays. So.
Well, hey, this is more important. You just watch that restream.
Oh, I watch it when I come home if I get a chance to. But I do my own stuff too. I can't be watching well, I do watch everybody else, but every once in a while I got to take a break and do my own stuff too. And actually I started doing this before I discovered Salty. But he actually is the one that inspired me to start going live and doing. I wanted to do the call-in talk show, but I wanted to get. I didn't know when to do it, and then I decided one day, hey man, I'm going to do this. Especially after he mentioned, and he hasn't mentioned this again, but this is a couple of months ago now, or a couple of months before I actually went live. He mentioned something that I would absolutely love to be a part of, which is getting together our own artists and our own musicians and stuff like that, having our own like Lollapalooza type of thing, or our own concerts or parties.
Yeah,
or something
don't
like
do it in D.C. We got to do it in like someplace like a stronghold. I remember exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
And I completely agree with that.
That's a
can't we show our
fantabulous
numbers?
idea.
You know, like, don't go to D.C. and do it. Show the numbers somewhere else. I mean, we show the numbers every time on a Trump rally. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just crazy.
I think the idea was to also to try and avoid Antifa and the naysayers, the people that would come in and start trouble.
Yeah, but if we're on our side, yeah, bring it.
Right.
Like,
Well, that's what I say. That's why he
would
didn't
work
want
out
us to
too
do
much.
it in like D.C. or one of the blue strongholds. Like I say, the idea itself was just phenomenal, because we don't need Snoop. We don't need any of these assholes that are their paychecks are paid by CPP or CCP or whatever it is. And a majority of these guys, and I'll tell everybody again, once you sign a contract with these music companies or these movie companies or anything like that, they own you. You are at that point a high-paid slave. They tell you what to do, where to be, what to wear, what to eat, when to be there, and what to say. All of their and everybody says, oh, they do these charities.
That's why Tom McDonald and Bryson Gray are on the money.
Right.
That's why they get big numbers, and guess what? They figure it out. I mean, that high res guy. Oh, you should hear that guy's story. It's just awesome.
The who?
Guy was, he's a rapper, but he's got like a great voice. I think he was on American Idol season, who knows, 12, 13, whatever. He was like third place. And then he got a record contract, and he went in there and whatnot. He was dealing with them, and he was like, all right. So they wanted to do this stuff. And I remember he told a story. He was like, yeah, I went to one of those Hollywood parties. And I remember I was like downstairs. It was like a big old mansion. He went in. There's a bunch of people. And then he noticed there was like some hot chick at like the bottom of the stairs. Every once in a while, like point to somebody or something. It was like, hey, hey, you want to come up or something like that. And then people come up, and he was like, and this was a high res guy. He could find this stuff. I mean, he's been on Stu Peters and Alex Jones and whatnot. And he was like curious. He was like, what's going on here? And then he asked the gal, he's like, hey, what's up there? And she was like, oh, you want to go up there? And he's like, yeah, sure, So he goes up or whatever, goes up the stairs or whatever, and goes into a room, and there's like a bunch of hot chicks that are like half scladdly or, like half, you know what I'm saying, on like a couch. And he's like, what's going on here? And then I swear he said that a bedroom door opened, and there was like, a little kid ran out. Ran away, and he was like, I'm fucking done with this shit.
Oh,
and that was like when that's when he like found God, and he was like, I'm done, dude. He's like, these people are nuts. And then he's got some stories like that, and then that's why he's like, all bass down, and that's why when you find his music, he's, singing good stuff.
Yeah, well,
I know that's crazy. Just kid runs out. You ask me, I see a kid run out, I'm going to do some detective work. I'm just saying that's the story that I heard, live when I was like watching him. I was like, oh wow, because he didn't know about, like Salty said, as a kid fuckers. You know what I mean? So he was like, whoa, what's going on here? This is some weird stuff. But that's how it worked out. I would have done a little more detective work and probably end up dead that night, if I was him, but,
Yeah, wow. I was going to say, yeah, he probably at that point saw his life flash before his eyes.
Crazy. I don't want to mess up your stuff. So.
What's that?
Yeah, no, and then now the guy's like a bass Christian, but like a really good singer. I mean, he's like Bryson Gray type guy now. Now he's just like based and believes in God, and he's got some great interviews. High Res, I'm pretty sure that's that guy's name. He's really good. I mean, he was on American Idol. Like I said, he was like third place. Maybe probably should have won. I didn't watch that show, but
Wow. I wonder what the guy that hooked up with Queen is up to. I wonder if that's the same kind of situation.
is that a gay song? I don't know.
Queen?
It's like old.
The guy that hooked
music.
up with Queen? That singer, he had the black hair and
Not the band.
yeah, he Adam, what's his name? Adam something
The
or
band
other.
Queen, isn't that an old band?
Yeah,
I
it
don't know.
is. But when he won American Idol or America's one of those shows, he actually got a contract and he's now singing with Queen.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. I'm curious as to Adam Lambert, I think his name is.
Oh, that name kind of rings a bell. I'm more of a classic country listener. All of a sudden, because of the patriotic ways, this new rap. Oh man, I'm listening to way much more rap than I've ever listened to in my life because of this new patriotic rap stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's not. One of the
really
things.
good, and I don't even like rap.
Yeah, I've never
like
really
hearing
liked
patriotic
rap that you can't understand. That's as bad as rock and roll that you can't understand, the mumble rap. But I'm with you. I'm listening to more rap actually because of 451 Actual. But most of the stuff that he plays is all patriotic and everything like that too. But you wouldn't know that if you couldn't understand what they were saying.
Yeah, I had to ask my daughter what mumble rap was, honestly. When Tom McDonald's making fun of mumble rap, I'm like, what the hell's mumble rap? I mean, I get it that they were probably, you couldn't coherent. Then I asked my daughter, she's like, well, I don't like those people. And I was like, oh.
Well,
I get it. Yeah, it's mumbling.
it's actually exactly what it sounds like. They'll sit there, and in fact, I've noticed that in a lot of the mumble rap, the only thing that you can understand are the curse words. And the N-word.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing about High Res that guy was talking about. He was saying that the industry was trying to get him to push to, promote drugs and killings. And his philosophy, or how he thought about it, is that it's the elite. Well, obviously they own all these companies, but they're trying to get people to kill people. And that's why he was, little things like that. He was just like, I got to be out, man. They're trying to poison people, and I don't want to do that type of stuff. I mean, you've heard Tom McDonald songs. He's saying the same thing. He's like, let's do good. Why are we trying to poison people? So do your own like label thing. Don't get paid by these damn bastards.
Yep, I'm an indie. I won't. In fact, I'd like to have sponsorship, but I'm actually afraid to take one. In fact, do you ever listen to Jericho Green?
Yeah, I don't know who Jericho Green is.
Okay. He is... I actually have featured him in one of my videos of people that I watch and listen to. He's a... do you know who ABL is?
I have no clue who.
No, okay. Anyway, this is a guy, he lives in California. He does commentary from his car. He started about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not exactly sure how long ago. But he just recently, within the last month, quit his job. That's how good he is at doing this. But I noticed that his programming and the way that he does things has changed because he's gotten so many sponsors now. Like I say, again, he quit his job. But his broadcasts aren't the same anymore, and it almost. Don't get me wrong, I love his content, but I have to scroll through his advertisements. But he now advertises gold and survival food and flashlights and all this other stuff that all these sponsors and everything like that. And it just I look at him a little bit differently now because that seems like the focus of his videos now rather than the commentary that he was doing. I mean, he still does good commentary and
It's
everything like
kind of
that.
like the equivalent. It's kind of like the equivalent of like Wage War. You used to have a certain set of music he played, and then there was like this fucking True Sanity guy and Prowler that came around and started fucking up his shit. He started playing weird shit.
Oh,
And
yeah?
I was like, I don't know about this guy no more.
They become CIA.
I'm just
Star
fucking
Child
with
says they become CIA agents. They have always worked for the Elites. Elites. Oh, I'm going to have to look that up. She says, Dominion, LOL, look it up. The Elites laugh their ass off. Okay. E-dash lights, whatever. I'll look that up later. I'm afraid to do anything else or else my
Must be
computer's
talking
going to
about
crash
elites.
again.
Probably a typo. I'm guessing elites.
So, yeah, actually, where is Wage? I don't
Yeah,
see him.
so-
Did he fall asleep on me again? He told me last week he fell
I probably
asleep. Although,
He's missing out the one time I actually call in and mess around. And I normally wouldn't. I was like, oh, screw it. I'll call in and like mess around.
oh yeah, well I appreciate it, and that's what it's for. I am trying to give everyone the opportunity to use their First Amendment rights before we have to start using our second ones.
Yeah. No, I used to be I used to have to fight. I felt like I used to fight like, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 years ago or whatever. It was just some kind of culture wars. Oh, those were the days. Now, I wouldn't say naive because I still listen to Alex Jones, Michael Savage, stuff like that. But it was an easier fight. 4 or 5, 6 years ago, I was just fighting trannies, trying to swim meet, you know what I mean, like type stuff. And then now it's like, oh no, we got to deal with the elites. It's like left and right. And I'm like, damn it, man! It was so much easier to fight this garbage 5, 6 years ago. Like
Yeah, because they weren't mandating.
Now it's
it.
like, dude, the shit's hit the fan, man.
Yeah,
Shit's
well,
hit the fan.
that's what I
and
say.
Clown World came about.
They weren't mandating this shit
Yeah.
before. It was easy to, and they actually have now words and phrases and things like that you can't say. Really?
Oh, I always just say whatever I want to say.
Oh,
But,
me too.
you know,
In fact, I've been
I just do
seeing
whatever.
I've been seeing stuff like this happen for almost 10 years now. When Obama got in office, we started seeing this bullshit about, oh, everybody's racist, and it started there. And from day one, if I remember correctly, from day one, I've always said F that. I've never
Yeah, I'm 42, and I promise you, when I was a kid, I was watching Martin, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I'd listen to all sorts of music. Most of my favorite athletes have been black.
One of my
And then
favorite
all of a
shows
sudden,
was
one
the
day,
Urkel
Clown World
show.
comes about. Hold on. Then all of a sudden, Clown World comes about, and I'm a fucking racist. I'm like, bullshit, man. Shit used to be normal, dude. In the 90s and shit like that, that shit was normal. I thought we got past all that shit. It was like normal. That's some bullshit. They just bringing it back. It's just a scam job from the elites, trying to fuck us over and divide us. It's ridiculous.
Divide and conquer. That's the way it's always worked. In fact, somebody, who was it? I saw somebody do a video last night literally comparing, I think it was Paul Joseph Watson, literally comparing what's going on right now with actually what happened in the 1930s and 40s. In fact, a lot of people, it might have been Tim Pool too, or somebody on Tim Pool. I don't remember who it was, but they All right, all I needed was one more crash and everybody's gone off of YouTube. I'm pretty sure everybody's gone off of Odysee as well. Oh, this is incredibly frustrating. Last week's show was fine. I didn't have any problems. This week's show, my computer keeps crashing and crashing and crashing. Of course, like I say, I think it's because we're talking about, some controversial situations with regarding to China and all these other things. Oh, that's not where I want to be. Is it? Yes. Okay, at least I'm not muted. It takes forever to get back on Odysee here. What is going on? Anyways, sorry about that, Truth and Sanity. I appreciate you calling. I appreciate all the callers tonight. I appreciate all the followers tonight. Once again, let me apologize. I have shit equipment. So once again, I am kind of sort of begging you. Hey, look, 2 shows ago, I showed you guys the things that are in my drawers back here. I'll still send you some goodies if you remember any of this stuff, or I'll just pick something out randomly if I see some donations in my YouTube, or I'm getting frustrated now. In my PayPal, like I say, the links are below. Every penny is going to go back into the stream so that I can improve this show for you. And not have any more crashes. And of course, like I say, the thing that's crashing the most is my video card. So evidently I have a shit video card. I mean, it was brand new, but it's supposedly only 2 gigs and I need at least 8. Some people say I need at least 4. And of course, this isn't anything to do with the computer as far as that goes, but I still have really, really low bandwidth as well as that going out too. Still waiting on our fiber optics out here. Don't forget though, I live in the boondocks, way out in the middle of nowhere, so we're lucky that they're even thinking about putting it out here. But there are so many people out here that we actually need it, and we do have some industry back here and some farms. So anyway, all right, Truth, make sure you call me back next week. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream tonight because it's gotten too frustrating and it's way past time. Like I say, when people are calling me and everything like that, I don't mind staying on, and I enjoyed the conversation. I appreciate y'all being here tonight. I appreciate y'all calling in tonight. I hope everyone stays well over this week. Keep an eye out for the assholes. And just all I can say, it's like what Salty said. If you want to know what to do about this, make sure that you take care of yourself. Also, 451 Actual had a lot of good suggestions. Now, actually, it's been past time to do this, but if you can try and grow yourself some of your own vegetables, get to know your neighbors, see if they're growing anything. You'll be able to, start barter system and things like that. Start preparing for food. Buy an extra can or 2 when you go grocery shopping for the next couple of weeks or whatever. Do whatever it is that you have to do to take care of you and your family. And, don't start anything, but be ready for it to end it if anything starts. That's all I can, that's all I can advise as far as that goes. And really and truly, that's all anybody can do. Unless you're part of this cabal, or unless you can find some way to get into the leadership, or, at that point, while you're taking care of yourself, maybe look into what Truth said. Try to get involved with the voting system, especially for your local officials. Try to get involved with your even if you live in an HOA. I've known plenty of HOAs that are totally unfair to their tenants. In fact, they're almost, in some cases, to the point of harassment. And you pay these people. You pay these people dues. You pay these people to tell you how to run your own household, how your house is supposed to look, how everybody's house, and then they fine you even more when you break the rules. Yeah, I'll bet you any amount of money. In fact, one of the HOAs that my mom was with, basically, they caught the guy that was in charge. He had literally taken all of their fees and had gone around and actually charged people other fees too. Like, they're going around in the dead of winter trying to make people change their grass. My stepdad even told him, he says, it's the dead of winter. There's no way I'm spending an extra $800 and some odd on new grass. It's just going to die in a few minutes in this cold weather anyway. But they fined people, and then this guy literally took all of their proceeds that he had taken from these people the last, at least year or whatever like that. They caught him in Hawaii with it. He went on vacation in Hawaii with it. A big luxurious vacation in Hawaii. So yeah, if you can, even get on your HOA boards, stuff like that, because these are the things that actually affect your life. And if you get woke people and doing that kind of stuff in these small things and they're starting to rule over everybody, we're doomed. We're finished. Because they're not very compassionate, even though they'll scream and yell at you about being tolerant. They're not very nice in most cases, especially if you just decide to try and disagree with them. And a lot of times they can be very petty and vindictive because they're just stupid. They don't have any other way of thinking, and they don't want any other way of thinking. And they think that anybody that even comes against them is their enemy, their dire enemy. They're going to finish me. They're going to finish me. And that's never been the case. But that's the way they think. And in order to defeat the way they think, and in order to win them over, you have to know how they think and be able to counteract that better than they can. So, anyways, so in case this thing doesn't crash on me one more time again, I really, really appreciate everybody that stuck with me on this and that took a chance. It seems like every time I talk on the Skype for a little while, that's when the crash comes about. And it's weird because I'm not even doing anything with video on it. But I'm afraid to even pull up another screen to look something up that somebody tells me because any more stuff is going to crash. So, help me out if you can. I appreciate anything that comes to me. And again, it will all go right back into the stream. I've got to get some new equipment. I actually want to grow big enough because I'm going to have a co-host soon, I hope. One of the people that you probably will actually enjoy talking to also is my husband. He's extremely witty. He's actually smarter than I am. Don't tell him I said that. He'll hold it over me. But I think he's smarter than I am. And he's hilarious. And he's got a lot of things that he says that are very poignant about a lot of this stuff too. And he actually sometimes comes up with quips and things that points out to me that I didn't even realize, which nobody else is talking about either. So help me out if you can. I do appreciate any help. Every little bit helps. No tip too small. And I will be using that to improve and grow the stream, hopefully. I'm sure I'll probably never ever be as big as Salty Cracker, but then again, who knows? I'm never saying never when it comes right down to anything like that. And I love doing this, and I love getting people's voices out there, and it's very important for us to do so, especially now. Let's keep practicing that 1A so we don't lose it, and so we don't have to resort to 2A. Nobody really wants that. Proof is in the pudding right now, what you're seeing in the Ukraine. So, let's see. Okay. So, and of course, again, don't forget, I'll have my regular video out on Saturday afternoon, as usual. I was a little bit late on Odysee, but that's because I had a little bit of a delay. And of course, I do work on the weekends IRL. So, be patient with me. And of course, I will see you guys next Thursday. Lord willing, the creek don't rise and my computer doesn't crash on me again. Although we've been overcoming that. So, thank you all again, once again, for being here. We appreciate you all. 1A all the way, and God bless America. Until next time.